Generation Y, millennials were the first generation to grow up with the internet, mobile technology, and social media. They're commonly described as the first global generation being connected to the entire world. However, they are also described as the unluckiest generation due to their average and slower economic growth since entering the workforce than any other generation in history, as well as them being weighed down by student debt and childcare costs. Millennials were born at the time of declining fertility rates around the world and are having fewer children than their predecessors. Young people of the 2010s were often criticized for having less sexual intercourse compared to their predecessors. When they were at the same age in 2010, the unemployment rate in the United States reached a record low at 19%. And these economic difficulties have led to a dramatic increase in youth poverty, unemployment, and a large number of them living with their parents. Millennials are also less likely to be religious than their predecessors, though many identify as spiritual. Millennials experienced 9/11, which changed American culture and began the war on terrorism. That's not to say it's all bad for them, however, as they are often characterized for their digital fluency, diverse perspectives, and a strong sense of social consciousness due to them being born in a time period where global news and information can be retrieved in seconds. Millennials are very active, socially and politically, and not afraid to use their voice. And despite the previously mentioned economic troubles they face, more than 8 in 10 feel confident in their finances, which is reprise of their generally positive outlook in a more complicated world. Generation Z, Zoomers. Zoomers are not that much different from millennials, but there are some key differences. While millennials were exposed to the internet and smartphones during their formative years and witnessed the entire world change, being forced to adapt to it too quickly, Zoomers were born into it. People born during this time period have grown up with a rise of social justice movements, a vicious new form of American politics, with the rise of Donald Trump, the Black Lives Matter protests, a new pandemic, and lockdowns that prevented most of them from experiencing a large part of their high school or college lives. On top of that, there's an ever-growing attention and dopamine economy, with apps like YouTube and more recently TikTok transforming not just how information is consumed, but their algorithms also transforming what information is sent out to the public. Even something as simple and stupid as memes, which were started by millennials, as jokes have become tools to spread and popularize ideas. Individualism defines the Zoomer spirit as they have once again returned to the entrepreneurial spirit of Gen X because of the internet and freelancing, and gig economy work is transforming how jobs are run, while the PMIC transformed where jobs are run at home rather than in office. Social media trends influence culture in a much different way than before, because individuals are now just as capable of getting attention as traditional media and the financially backed entertainment industry, leading to jobs like social media, content creation, and influencers being the most want a job above traditional work. Zoomers also grew up with SpongeBob, which defined culture more than really anything else in the last century. Generation Alpha. Not much is known about what will happen to Gen Alpha, who is currently being raised mostly by millennials, as it's hard to predict what the future will bring, described by some as the pandemic generation. They experienced everything about the pandemic as young children and are growing up in a world dominated by changes in their education and entertainment due to technology. Many talk about the pandemic of iPad kids, as this generation spends less time with their parents on average than previous generations, instead living independently and self-directed, growing up with a now 20-year-old version of the internet. Many will experience young adulthood in the 2030s and are expected by the United Nations to have an average lifespan of 83 years across the world. Problems that they are predicted to face are mental health issues, misinformation, and polarization. But it's hard to tell what the future will bring for them. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment below. See you next time.